Hello, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me here on the channel today. In today's video, we want to look at how to answer JAMB's questions on comprehension passages. And if you have been studying JAMB's past question, you will realize that questions on mood and tone are very recurrent. So in today's video, we want to look at how to answer questions on mood and the tone. So we begin with the definition of mood and the definition of tone. Mood and tone are different but related concepts. Mood is the writer's state of mind or feelings. It has to do with the writer's emotion, while tone is the language, that is the writer's choice of words. The tone is the language that is used to express the mood of the writer. So as you can see from these definitions, we can see that mood is the writer's emotion and feelings, while tone is the tool that the writer uses to pass across his feelings and emotions. Now, this is very important. In physical communication, we rely on the facial expression and the voice of people to determine their mood and tone. But in writing, in comprehension passages like this, that we cannot see the person who is talking, we cannot see the writer, we cannot see the speaker, we cannot hear their voices. We rely on the writer's choice of words in order to determine a writer's mood or tone. A writer's mood could be happy, joyous, sad, optimistic, pessimistic, etc. Talking about tone, tone could be a sermonizing tone, it could be disapproval, it could be sarcastic, analytical, optimistic, indifferent, etc. And we have said that there is a relationship, there is a connection between mood and tone. For example, if the mood of a writer is sad, the tone could be sorrowful. Now let's look at sad. The mood is sad, the tone is sorrowful. We can see the relationship between the two. Because of the connection between mood and tone, questions relating to them could be interwoven. Let's take a look at some common mood and tone in JAMB's passages. We have mood of sadness or dejection. We have optimism. We have the mood of joy or excitement or happiness or elation. Before I move further, I should let you know that these moods are not all the moods and tones that humans can feel, but they are the most recurring ones in JAMB's comprehension passages. So we have sadness, dejection, optimism, joy, excitement, happiness, elation. You can see that joy, excitement, happiness, and elation are synonyms. We have fear, we have analytical tone. These ones are based on tone. Satirical tone, sarcastic tone, sermonizing tone, tone of approval, tone of disapproval, non-committal tone, that is what we call the neutral tone. We have tone of indifference, we have historical tone, we have argumentative tone, and others. But these ones that we have listed here are very common in JAMB's question. Let's begin with the first one, that is sadness, the mood of sadness or dejection. Sadness or dejection is the feeling of sorrow or depression. Now let's look at this sample passage, but I want to remind us, it is good to manage our time well when we are in the examination hall. At the same time, approaching a comprehension passage, you must read the passage as slow as you can in order to understand every detail in the passage. This will maximize your chance of picking the correct option. So that is the first thing you must do. You must read and understand the passage very well. Now let's look at this sample passage. It says, I stood before the mirror, heart heavy with disappointment. The audition had felt perfect in the moment. My voice soaring with hope. Yet the silence that followed was deafening. I had envisioned the applause, the joy of acceptance, but instead, I was met with rejection. Each note I had sung echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder of what could have been. As I wiped away a tear, I realized that sometimes, no matter how hard we try, our dreams slip through our fingers like grains of sand. I turned away from the mirror, feeling more lost than ever. Now let's see the question relating to mood on the passage. The mood of the writer is dash, optimistic, elated, sad, indifferent, anger. Now, we don't just pick options. Remember, we said that we can only identify the mood and tone of the writer through the choice of words. Since we cannot see the writer or the speaker face to face, then we rely on the choice of words. So that means whatever option you want to pick, there must be evidences. There must be pointers. We call them pointers. There must be evidences and pointers from the passage that will determine your correct option. So we don't just pick option. Now, let's come to the passage. The passage conveys a strong sense of sorrow, disappointment, and emotional pain tied to rejection and the unmet expectations. Now, this aligns with sad mood. The writer's introspection and tears highlights the emotional weight of the experience. Now, let's see some evidences and pointers from the passage to justify that the correct option is sad, that the mood is sad. Now, the first thing I'm going to look at, let's look at this particular sentence. Heart heavy with disappointment. Look at that expression. His heart is heavy with what? Disappointment. Heavy heart shows what? Sadness, pain from the heart. The second pointer from the passage is what I see as emotional response of loss. Look at that line. I wiped away a tear. So it means the writer has been crying. Of course, when someone is sad, someone cries. So this shows that the writer is crying. Another one I want us to identify is that sense of dejection. Look at this expression, feeling more lost than ever. This reflects how downcast, how sorrowful the writer is. Then look at this one as well. Each note I had sung echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder. Look at that word, haunting reminder of what could have been. This suggests regret and sorrow about whatever opportunity the writer has missed. The last pointer is our dream slips through our fingers like grains of sadness. This represents a melancholic view of how people lose their dreams. So with these pointers, you can see that the mood is not optimistic. The mood is not elated. The mood is not indifferent, or the writer is not angry. The writer is simply sad. Okay, let's check another passage out. Optimism means hopeful of favorable outcome, usually from challenges. So whenever a writer discusses a challenge and expresses hope or process of surviving the challenge, it is an optimistic view. Let's see this passage, UTME 2010. Now, there is one outstanding important fact regarding spaceship Earth, and this is that no instruction book came with it. I think it is very significant that there is no instruction book for successfully operating our ship, in view of the infinite attention to all other details displayed by our ship. It must be taken as deliberate or purposeful that an instruction book was omitted. Lack of instruction has forced us to find out that there are two kinds of mangoes: unripe mangoes that will kill us, and ripe mangoes which will nourish us. And we have to find out ways of telling which was which mango before we ate it, or otherwise we would die. So we were forced, because of this, to devise scientific experimental procedures and to interpret effectively the significance of experimental findings. Thus, because the instruction manual was missing, we are learning how we can safely survive on the planet. Now to the question. The writer's mood in the passage is that of dash. A. Non-committal. B. Pessimism. C. Optimism. D. Frustrating. Now, non-committal is wrong because the writer clearly commits to a particular view. A non-committal view is a kind of tone or mood that the writer does not really select or stay in a particular side. The writer is in the middle. The writer is neither here nor there. That's non-committal. But the passage is actually committal because the writer stays on a particular side. And that's that the fact that the manual is missing is purposeful and beneficial. Also, pessimism is not the correct choice of word. It's not the correct mood because the mood does not show hopelessness. Are you with me? The mood is not also frustration. It's not that of frustration because there is no anger or irritation in the tone, in the choice of words. It means optimism is our correct option. And what are the pointers? Like I told you, we don't just arrive at a particular answer. What are the reasons? What are the evidences from the passage? What are the pointers from the passage to show that the correct option is optimism? There is a challenge, obviously, in the passage. And that challenge is the lack of instruction manual to operate the ship, the spaceship that's discussed in the passage. The absence of this instruction manual forced people to find out a way of how to operate, of how to survive. Thus, because the instruction manual was missing, we as human beings in the passage, we are learning how we can safely survive on the planet. How we can safely survive. So it shows optimism, it shows hopefulness, being hopeful. What are the pointers from the passage to show that the answer, the mood, is that of optimism? Let's look at this line. It must be taken as deliberate and purposeful that an instruction book was omitted. Now, this sentence shows that the fact that instruction book was omitted does not pose any great sadness, to the writer. Instead, he sees it as a way to make people devise a means for survival. 2, we are learning how we can safely survive on this planet. That shows hope. That shows being optimistic. They didn't give up when the instruction manual was missing. Instead, they looked for a way out. Another one, so we are forced because of this to devise scientific experimental procedure. This shows that challenges could lead to a positive development. Ripened mango which will nourish us. The fact that they didn't see it as outrightly bad mango. Instead, they see two things, the ripe mango and the one that is unripe. This bespeak hope. The overall narrative frames the lack of instruction as a reason, as a catalyst for humans to discover ways to survive. So this is just optimism. Now listen to this, it is very important. Another way to identify your correct option in this kind of question, in generally multiple choice question, is to use what I call the elimination method. In elimination method, what do? We begin by looking for the wrong answers. Now let's begin to remove the wrong answers. Let's begin from the option D. Frustrating is wrong. Non-committal, let's remove that too because the passage cannot be non-committal. Since the writer is of a particular opinion, whenever a writer speaks of his own opinion, then the passage cannot be non-committal. Then we are left with pessimism and optimism. Pessimism is lack of hope, while optimism is the presence of hope. So that could only be the correct option. The elimination method helps us to identify the wrong options and increases our chance of picking the right options. Okay guys, let's quickly go to another passage. Joy has to do with happiness, elation, celebration, etc. Now, in this kind of questions, joy might not be in the given option, but there will be an option having the same meaning or relating to joy. Let's check out this passage. As the first drop of rain splashed against the parched earth, a wave of joy surged through the village. Children danced in puddles, their laughter ringing aloud, while elders raised their arms to the sky, tears mingling with raindrops. The once dusty fields drank eagerly, transforming before their eyes into a tapestry of green. Hearts lightened and voices united in song, celebrating the long-awaited gift from the heavens. In that moment, hope blossomed anew, and the villagers embraced the promise of life restored, their spirits soaring like the clouds above. Let's see the question on this passage. The mood in the passage is A. Optimistic, B. Jubilant, C. Disappointed, D. Pessimistic, E. Tearful. We are not just going to pick the option. We are going to pick the option based on the evidences, based on the pointers we found in the passage. Now let's go through some of the pointers to help us identify the correct option from the passage. Look at this expression. A wave of joy surged through the village. Underline that word, joy. Now in the options, is there anything like joy, optimistic, jubilant, disappointed, pessimistic, tearful? Now you can see sometimes when a word becomes obvious in the passage, that word will not show up in the option because that will make it too simple for you. Instead, there will be some other word that is synonymous with the word that is used in the passage. So, of course, there cannot be something like joy or joyful in our option because the word joy has been mentioned in the passage. But then let's hold on to that particular word. Another point I want us to see is look at this sentence. Hearts lightened and voices united in song. It's because they are happy. That's why they are singing. The word song in that passage is a pointer to celebration, to happiness, celebrating the long-awaited gift from the heavens. Now celebration has also come in. Underline that particular pointer, celebrating. Now look at this one too. Hope blossomed anew, and the villagers embraced the promise of life restored. Now hope blossomed what? Anew. That is what? That gives us the spirit of optimism, hope. Now let's move on. Spirit soaring like the clouds above. So their spirits now, become happy. They are happy in spirit. They are lifted in spirit. This shows happiness and elation. Now, the once dusty feet drank eagerly, transforming before their eyes into a tapestry of green. Of course, this passage is just about villagers who have been experiencing drought, lack of water. Now, rain begins to fall and they are very happy. They are jubilating. Now, let's look at our options. From the pointers we have identified from the passage, optimistic, jubilant, disappointed, pessimistic, tearful. Which of them is correct? The correct option is jubilant. Although some could be fooled to identify pessimistic as the correct option. But then, just look at the whole of the passage. Jubilant captures the celebratory, the happy and the uplifting essence. While hope can be identified in the passage, jubilation forms the subject matter. So hope is one of the themes. Hope is one of those things that were mentioned in the passage. But the totality of the whole of the passage is about jubilation. The passage does not really dwell much on hope. Instead, the passage dwells much on the jubilation, on the celebration of the villagers. That makes our correct option to be option B, jubilant. Now, let's quickly move to the next passage. Fear is the feeling of the existence of threat or danger. It usually involves the desperate search for safety. Let's check this passage from 2024 UTME. On that fateful day, they had pursued everyone in the neighboring villages. Later, they came to us and pursued us to the mountains. Everyone ran for their life. We knew what we were up against. They blocked the mountains for 2 months. We were stuck there, praying and fasting, asking God to show us a way out. Now, let's look at the question on this particular passage. The mood of the villagers is dash. A, fearful. B, indifferent. C, anger. D, indignant. We don't just pick the options, right? We look at pointers, evidences of the right option from the passage. But then we are talking about the mood or tone of fear. So it means our correct option is fearful. But then let's look at the pointers that shows that fearful is the correct option. Okay, look at this particular expression. They had pursued everyone in the neighboring village. Later, they came to us and pursued us to the mountains. Look at the word pursued. It indicates that there is a danger and threat is involved. And people had to run. Everyone has to run for his own life. So running, look at that particular word. Running is a fearful action. It shows that you are desperately searching for a way out of danger. That is why you are running. Look at that particular word. Everyone ran for their life. That suggests that people were extremely afraid. They are running to save themselves. Another pointer is this. We knew what we were up against. This implies that these people recognize the serious threat and danger, and this actually contributes to their fear. Now, another one shows that they are blocked in the mountain. They blocked the mountains for 2 months. We were stuck there. They were confined. They were forced to stay in a particular place for 2 months. that also shows that they are scared. Praying and fasting, asking God to show us a way out. Look at this, praying and fasting. This shows that the environment is tense, the environment is fearful and helpless, to the extent that they cannot help themselves. They have to pray. They have to seek for heavenly, for spiritual intervention. Now let's come to the options. From the pointers we have identified, the correct option is not indifferent. From the pointers, the correct option is not anger. There is nothing that shows being angry in the passage. Indignant. Indignant is another word for being angry. So indignant and anger are the same. Nothing in the passage shows that these people are angry about anything. So the correct option from our pointers is option A, fearful. So it is at this point that we are going to be dropping the curtain as far as this video is concerned. And if you have stuck to the video to this very moment, it means you found value in what we are doing on this channel. Why not subscribe to the channel? Share this video with people, and of course, comment your thoughts. Comment what you think in the comment section of the video. If you have a question, you have a particular topic you want me to cover, or you have a suggestion for me, do well to drop all of those in the comment section. Remember to subscribe to the channel. See you another time. Bye-bye.